coaster. Join us for the ride.
Cue the music.
Good morning. Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris. That's Lynn. It's a roller coaster, Lynn.
Grab your Dramamine.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not real fond of roller coasters.
I am not either. I avoid them at all costs, and this has been unavoidable if you're a Yankee fan, though. Morning, Lori.
I am terrified of roller coasters, and I'm terrified looking into the future for this season. But I'm willing to do it today, and off we go. Let's talk about, first of all, some trivia so we can get that underway and give you the answer at the end. Shoot us with that there.
Here it comes. Morning, FJ. Good to see you.
Morning, FJ.
So, thank you to Spencer for the trivia question of the week. In a year of anniversaries, 2023 marks the 20th year Roger Clemens won his 300th career game, doing so against this weekend's opponent, the St. Louis Cardinals. Boo! Not only did Clemens get his 300th win, he also recorded his 4,000th strikeout. The unlucky recipient of the 4K was Edgar Renteria. But strikeout number 4001 was against this former New York Yankee hero.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah. So who sent Roger Clemens into the 4,000s for strikeouts? And it was a New York Yankee at the time.
Wow. And speaking of pitching, should we just start right off and say Perfecto Herman?
Perfecto Herman. Yeah, let's open up that door. So, and before we do, let me just say thanks for your guesses, FJ and Lori. Look for confirmation at the end of the show. You may be right or I may be crazy, but it just might be the lunatic. Anyway, always an earworm in my head. So look, there's been so much conversation, and rightly so, about Herman. Who would have thunk it? Of all the years of pitching hell for the Yankees, and of all the pitchers, it's the one that was brought in as a starter with Schmidt, and now I'm guessing he's going to be towards the top of the rotation and solidly there. So Nestor gets a demotion when he returns automatically.
Yeah.
And obviously there's two sides of reactions when it comes to what happened. You know, there's the fan side of it all, Yankee fan side of it all, baseball in general side of it all. And then there's the moral, ethical side of it.
Right.
How did you feel, Chris?
I felt like Herman, as the pitcher, Domingo Herman, who I've been admiring as a pitcher, since he was an 18-game winner, I was used to rooting for this man. That became cloudy with the issues of domestic violence that came up. But I found myself once again rooting for the pitcher, Domingo Herman, with all my heart during the game the other night. And I couldn't be happier for Herman, the Yankees. He earned a spot in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he may not be a Hall of Famer, but he's in the Hall. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, his hat's already there. So technically, yes, he is in the Hall of Fame. And you know, it's a Cinderella story of Cinderella stories. And hey, good morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. Because first of all, no one, I think, and I understand I'm speaking for the universe here, but who would have expected this? Just out of the blue. And, Herman not being our strongest of performers, most consistent of performers.
Right.
And so it was a shock, but to watch it unfold, um, was what every baseball fan wants to watch. And let's not forget that it's Herman pitched, but there was a team behind him, and we're so it is a team win. It is a team. He pitched
Right.
the perfect game, not taking that away from him. But it's also a great thing for the Yankees team that was behind them. Can you imagine
Absolutely.
how scared, how scary it would be to be Rizzo catching that, for Donaldson to be fielding that, and Rizzo to be
Yep.
catching it? I mean, I don't care how experienced you are with something like that on the line, you know. And I think that's fair to say of all the guys on the field. Once you were past the seventh inning, you were like, "Oh, please, not to me, not to me." That's how I would feel. Um,
Wow. And I think just on the basis of that performance and the bullpen, I mean, the Yankee pitching is definitely what's keeping this team above 500. The strength of that performance just shows what the possibilities are. Cole could go out there today and pitch a perfect game. Who we wouldn't be surprised the
yeah,
way you say you were surprised that Herman did it.
that's
I
right.
mean, I'm not saying Cole's going to go out and do that today, but he's capable. He's certainly capable.
Yeah, and it wouldn't, and for a few reasons, it wouldn't have gotten the ripple wave that this one did.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, it's what you would expect. It would be glorious, and I welcome it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but the thing is, this is really a Cinderella story, right?
Yeah.
Because who would have dreamed that this guy, we were talking about as a trade possibility, and why are the Yankees sitting on him, etc. And now his AAV is astronomical,
Yep.
sent it to Mars, because and I mean, arguably was already set for life, but now, I mean, post career, at a shopping mall near you, car dealership near
Exactly.
you, Curry and Hoke, which one is going to get the books contract first? And so, and you're happy to see that for anybody. And
Yeah.
as somebody who sits on both sides of the equation when it comes to Herman, and I have no problem putting it out there that domestic violence is a complicated issue, but it's a moral and ethical issue, and one that not only MLB but professional sports in general seems to be disinterested in. But that there was a lot on Twitter, a lot of debating going on, and in terms of um, should he be lauded for this the same way Wells and Cohn and etc.
Right.
And even me, and well, Chris knows this. I, I've been a domestic violence advocate voluntarily for a long time in the past, and so I have a very strong stance on it. However, um, I found myself able to separate the two because rehabilitated or not, paid his dues or not, he did an extraordinarily special thing, and I'm very happy for him for that. And to be the 24th in MLB history,
Yeah.
how remarkable that, and that's going back like into the late 1800s. So
Yeah.
think of all the there's just 23 before him, four of which were Yankees. So there are three of which were Yankees, I believe. So
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that we've run the spectrum this week. Now, Severino comes up for his turn yesterday, and who guessed that he was going to get thrashed the way he did after that pitching performance? I mean, I thought maybe he'd feel inspired, or I'm not sure what, but Sevy was not good.
No, no. And FJ, absolutely. Thanks for backing up my point there. That's right. There's a litany of people that are still lauded, Hall of Fame or otherwise. So, and hey, good morning, Elliot. Jet
Hey,
lags from Arizona. Good to see you.
welcome back.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, so Severino, he's not looking good. His velocity is down. What the heck is going on with Severino? He's the outing was a disaster. 4 innings, 9 hits, 9 runs, 7 earned runs, 3 base on balls, only 2 strikeouts. I mean, he doesn't pitch inside. He's serving it up down the middle of the plate, it seems like. Gave up 2 home runs. His ERA is 6.30.
and so the thing is, Sevy's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get anymore. Right.
No.
And so, and yesterday we got the Sevy we didn't want. There was just no depth to his ball. And
No.
the velocity wasn't there. And in a game where, we knew what we were up against this game 2, we knew was going to be determined until we knew it was a bullpen game. And we needed not to rely so much on the bullpen, but there we were. And his after the game interview wasn't so convincing about his health. Instead of like being reassuring and solid like they're trained to do about, no, I'm 100%. This was all about one thing or the other. Sevy, props to him. He always takes the accountability and says he has to figure it out. But when he was asked about his health, he's like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
fans can see what's going on. I mean, John Harvey at PJ Yankee DVED said his fastball is often 95. His fastball is often right down the middle, and he rarely pitches inside. Will we see Sevy in pinstripes next year? And not likely. I mean, are we going to see Sevy in pinstripes next year?
Well, we say not likely, and yet who's going to take them? FJ.
Definitely. He'll go somewhere and be a 20-game winner. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what Yankees do. Former Yankees do. But that's okay as long as they're in, in another underperforming league somewhere. But I just don't see Hal and Cashman doing that. Especially given the woes of even though Sevy was one of the woes of IL lists, I don't know. They're going to hold on to what they got. Because of how horrible we were in a position this year unexpectedly. But Elliot seems to think it's likely that he's going to be leaving.
I agree with Elliot. He's making it easy for fans to accept.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could accept it. I have no problem. But I don't know if we'll have something to accept. I don't know if we'll be in a position to have to accept that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's the downside, but the pitching in general is the strength of the Yankees right now. And also, let's talk about Volpe. Does anybody think he's becoming a strength offensively? He's definitely, since the chicken parm magic has occurred.
Yeah, that's going to be the new thing at dinner tables across the country. Eat your chicken parm instead of eating vegetables. Because since then, in his last, since mid-June, he's batting 3 something. I don't remember the exact, but
Well, I've
went from
got his numbers.
197 on up to in the threes. You got
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Since the chicken parm, he's in the last 16 games, he's batting 375. He's 18 for 48, 5 doubles, a triple, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, and 1 home run. I mean, he's hot. He's hot.
He's definitely hot and really critical in last night's game 2 win. With those 2 RBIs he put in with the triple. So um, yeah, he's hot, and so how do we keep him simmering
Yes.
instead of boiling over and then extinguishing? So that's the key, and the optimistic side of it is that the chicken parm conversation led to some adjustments in his mechanics at the plate,
Yeah.
and his stance has improved, and thus the contact has improved, and the power hitting going on isn't what we had seen pre chicken parm, or
Yeah.
even like at the beginning when he started off hot. So I'm feeling very optimistic, and I'll take optimism rather than
Oh,
guarantee at this point.
right. I agree. He's had 5 consecutive multi-hit games. This is definitely the taking off point, in my opinion, for Volpe for the rest of the season. I hope that he's on his way. And I think that I noticed Cabrera got a hit yesterday. So perhaps he's going to start to catch fire.
I hope so, because Cabrera, and yeah, FJ, that's right. Doesn't hurt to have a little bit of that Sunday sauce. Sunday gravy, depending on what camp you're in. There is a difference between sauce and gravy. Um, that's the thing with Cabrera, is he's been of concern to me because um, at least defensively, and also so lukewarm offensively. So it was good to see him come out a bit.
Yeah.
And um, so optimistic, but very cautiously optimistic about Cabrera. And they need to make a decision instead of, treating him like a carrot, like a revolving turnstile. So, but
Yeah.
not so
Well,
sure.
and I think that with Cabrera, he's the idea of him is more valuable than he is himself right now, because he's up and down, up and down. We haven't seen Heidner Hair Peraza. I don't think we're going to. Maybe with the call ups, but
Right.
Cabrera's been a yo-yo this season. And it's a little hard to figure out why exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I know everyone's going to keep crying for Peraza, and I understand why. He's slaying down in AAA, and I do think we're going to see him, whether it's because of necessity or because they make room. We are going to see him, and will it be a swap for Cabrera? I don't know. I don't think it'll be a swap for Volpe. And hello to Karen Delaney. You're right. He's getting used to bright lights, big city for sure. Although he seemed to soak it up from day one. He entered that show like, oh, no big deal. It's little league time. And by the way, let me just shout out to Karen Delaney as my sister, and thank you for being here, Karen, and a new grandma. So congratulations. So
And I don't want to forget to mention Donaldson.
oh
We wanted to get Donaldson. As usual, is such a lightning rod figure on the Yankee lineup. Is he going to hit? Is he going to hit a home run? Finally, he hit a home run in a game the Yankees won.
Yes, and do I hate that I have to be positive about the bringer of pain? Yeah, I kind of hate it. I got to be honest. However, not only all those things, Chris, but he was 3 up, 3 down on the bump. Who even knew? I joke about my great aunt Martha having to come on the hill
I
before.
know.
I still would have predicted that, and I don't have a great aunt Martha. Before I would have predicted Donaldson.
I know. Shohei Donaldson, for God's sakes.
I mean, come on, and so, and it turns out, I learned this on the post game that he was a pitcher in college, and he's been telling Boone, "Hey, basically give me a shot. I'm good." And Boone, with no sample size, was that desperate. He's like, "Okay, go. Like, you're out. You're on there." And I can have someone that's saying, "Oh no, don't you hone in on my thing."
Right.
But and IKF, by the way, was like, this is the first time in baseball history that that a position player has shown up 3 times on the mound. So IKF again with the value, whoop, right up there with Herman, and who would have thunk it with IKF? Another one.
I agree with Spencer. Just when Donaldson seems to be at the point of no return, he gets a couple timely hits. And, then there was the conversation he had with Boone before the game when he was, benched last week. What was that all about?
Yeah.
I don't know. Donaldson, when he was a Blue Jay, I thought he was a big pain in the rump, man. And now that he's a Yankee, he's our pain. At least he's our pain in the rump, right?
Yeah. Except, you can't really put antibiotic cream on it and make it go away, or take a couple of Advil. But yeah, that was such a joke. Like, again, that's like Boone thinking that we're a bunch of idiots. Oh, we were just a couple of guys in my office talking baseball. Give me a freaking break. None of us fell off any cabbage truck yesterday. And Karen, we always have that one player. Yankees seem to be a little bit richer this year when it comes to that. But he comes through at the right moment, and you're like, yes, damn it. At the same time.
I can't stand Donaldson. I'm sorry. I've got to put it out there. But I mean, he's a Yankee, and I root for him. But I never, it's like he was a Blue Jay. He was obnoxious. And now he's obnoxious as a Yankee, and I root for that. Yes. But at the same time, if he's not producing and he's not productive, I'd much rather see the Yankees going younger at third. But whatever.
Yeah, and that's so much needed, and that's its own risk assessment to take. But so far, those risks have been paying off with the young guys we've had. And Elliot, we know you don't hate him. It's okay to not want him here anymore. It's fine. We're with you.
Who's that? Who's Elliot talking about? Donaldson?
Donaldson, yeah.
Yeah, Donaldson. Yeah.
Out of here. And there's a lot about him, his arrogance, for one thing, other things that I won't gaslight at the moment. But just off topic for a quick second, but related. Sure. Speaking of,
wait, we have topics? Just kidding.
Oops, no, completely off the cuff. So speaking of arrogant tool bags, can I talk about Luke Voigt for a second? And the photo heard round the world up in Syracuse for the Mets. I'd love to know what Steve Cohen's going to do about that. Like, the sheer nerve of this guy. First of all, Voigt, I've seen better arms on a, I don't know, I can't even come up with an insult because I get clouded with him. I just, and I was like, and then I had to zoom in to make sure he had all the chains and the Christ head with the thick gold chain and all this stuff.
That was pretty hysterical, that photo.
Does he think he is? And how disrespectful to the uniform. You are a professional baseball player. Okay, I'm not going to waste any more time or breath on him when we have a game to talk about. But, talk about somebody that if he comes back, I'll have to question life in general.
Oh, my God. Luke Voigt back in a Yankee uniform. Oh, my God. I don't even want to contemplate that.
No.
Not that I dislike Luke. I mean, but right now we
I
don't
do.
need that. Yeah, God forbid.
Thank you, MJ. That's it. Can I hire you as my writer? Yes. Anyway, so
yeah, and before we go, I just want to throw out kudos to IKF again. You mentioned his pitching, but IKF all the way around. I mean, what can you say? He's got to be the Yankee MVP.
And guess what? Like we've always said or wondered about Stanton, the more he's doing things on the field, the better he is at the plate. So now we have, full picture IKF. We have him, in all ways. Now, will that be for always? We don't know.
Right.
But yeah, to think that IKF and Donaldson are, now being lauded and we're supporting the lauding.
I know.
Is just like as much of a surprise as Herman and his perfecto. And
I know.
And I'm not ready to go because we have a whole other week to talk about coming up, and it's a significant week. So wrapping up with the Cards, that was our fourth series win in a row. Will it be fit as we enter a 4-game set with the O's?
Yeah, good question. The O's are going to pose a significant challenge. And unfortunately, we've been significantly challenged by Oakland, for God's sakes. So I kind of fear and welcome the Orioles at the same time, because we're going to get a good idea of how good this team is right now.
Right.
Or bad.
Yep. And this is a real opportunity. We can't be complacent with splitting. And we certainly wouldn't be complacent with losing the series. But, we need to gain ground. And this is like the perfect storm before the All-Star break to have this moment, this opportunity to at least, get closer to second place, if not tied for second. Because we are at that critical juncture now. We always use All-Star break as that point in time.
Right.
And it kind of leads to that discussion. Like, how do we feel leading into it in general? And what are we thinking about for after?
Yeah. The All-Star break definitely, or the halfway point of the season, which is where we are now, it definitely is time for reflection. I feel like the first half of the season has been a big-ass disappointment. I've been disappointed the whole season. Judge was not disappointing, and I was having fun watching him perhaps repeat his accomplishments. That's definitely not happening now. Shohei Ohtani has 30 home runs, and I think I hate to admit it, but it's going to be a blast watching Ohtani and see what he accomplishes in the second half. But anyway, that's all that. But the second half for the Yankees, I think better. We got Rodon coming back. Hopefully we'll have Judge. I don't know that we'll have Judge, but I can't believe that Cashman is going to let a team that's above 500, still in the division hunt, go without that power hitter, that lefty hitter, that left fielder, that starting pitcher. What do we need? Go get it, Cashman.
Yeah, and if I'll try to say this without laughing. Give me a moment to get into character. If Hal keeps to his word, he will extend the luxury tax threshold towards trade deadline if it's going to make the difference for getting into the playoffs and winning the championship. End scene. I did it.
Yes.
So,
Elliot says, I feel good about NYY because they haven't even lost 40 to 44 games yet. And I feel good for the same reason. The division is still within reach, barely. Although if I wonder I saw where someone predicted that the Yankees might win 92 games this season, which I would think is not enough. But 92 games apparently may be enough to win in a playoff spot. It won't win the division. I don't mean that, but it'll be enough to get in the playoffs. What do you think, guys?
I think it's sad that we're heading towards the complacency end of things, but it's also reality,
Right.
as of now, at least. And yeah, I mean, we have to shoot for bare minimum. That's always the thing, unless you're the Rays. But when I compare this season to last season, here's what has me a little bit optimistic in a weird way. Going into the All-Star break, we were the hottest team in Major League Baseball. There was like no stopping us across the board. Our numbers were through the roof. We weren't like towards last place in anything, statistically. Right now, all the Yankees have going for them is the bullpen being tops in the majors. Everything else is in the toilet. And
Right.
yet we're still, well over 500 despite all of it. And that makes me feel that we're unlikely. I'm predicting we are not going to see the poop show that we saw post All-Star game last year.
Yes.
I think that we will be on, all cylinders, and what all cylinders means now compared to pre All-Star break last year remains to be seen, given everything that we've experienced so far. But I think we could expect much better things. And Jonathan is going to help me, manage my expectations in saying that, because he's thinking wild card spot. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
one would hope at a minimum wild card spot, and that we're
Right.
already set up for that if we stay in third. And so,
Right.
um, and Elliot, I hate to break our friendship up at this point, but this is just unallowable. um, Kidding. But I'm still just gonna just hope that the Rays have a horrible post All-Star break like the Yankees did last year. How about that? Could still
Yeah.
happen.
Exactly.
Um,
And
and
I hope my hope is that the starting rotation starts to really pull its weight once we have Cole, Rodon, Herman. We've got that strong rotation. Perhaps the offense can bring itself to score some runs in the second half of the season and support these excellent starters.
right. Although I'm gonna put a little sprinkle of water on those flames, because we have to remember that Rodon will need a little bit of grace when he comes up, to
Right.
adjust and stretch out, and settle in. So I don't know that we could expect very high level. We could manage our expectations and be pleasantly surprised,
Right.
but we have to give a little bit of an expectation that that's possible. And same with Nestor when we get him back.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have to hope that Herman will still be top caliber. I mean, perfect games, no matter what, are an aberration, because they don't happen multiple times in a season for anybody, let alone in a lifetime for most. But he's our number three at the moment.
Right.
So
There's
yeah,
there's cause for optimism though
yep,
for the
there is,
second half,
there is,
propelling us into the second half.
yep.
Now, before we forget, Lynn, do you want to give us the answer to the trivia
Yes,
question?
I will. But first, I just
Sure.
want to acknowledge Jonathan. Had said that if Judge isn't coming back soon, they should put him on the 60-day IL, which I agree. Like, give us some reality here, and I guess the sign will be, about the All-Star game. Ken Rosenthal did report yesterday that it's still not determined if Judge is playing or if he'll be seeking a replacement for the All-Star game. So the
Okay.
fact that it's not decided yet, unless just not announced,
Right.
then let's be real with the fans and make room on the roster for someone from AAA to come up that deserves the opportunity.
Lynn, you're talking about the Yankees. Be real.
Oh,
Be real about the roster. When has that ever happened?
oh, I'm sorry. What?
When has that ever happened?
What did I say? I didn't say anything. So
Freaking
about that answer to the trivia question of the week. So let me remind everybody of the question. Roger Clemens, when he got his 4,000th strikeout, it was against the Cardinals, and it was a strikeout for Edgar Renteria. But strikeout number 4001 was against a former Yankee hero. And two of our regulars in the chat, congratulations, FJ and Lori. The correct answer is Tino Martinez.
Tino!
And,
right.
And you were at that game. Awesome. Elliot was at that game as well.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, Elliot is like the Forrest Gump of Yankee fandom. Elliot, you, I think, are the luckiest because you've been in all sorts of great moments in Yankee history. And so, but yes, so thank you, Elliot, for the awesome question. Tino Martinez, a fan favorite. And yep. And so, Chris, now I'm not going to.
I'm looking forward to the game today. I think that we have every opportunity of seeing Cole, shut down these Cardinals, and the Yankee offense is awake, or at least was awake. So yes. Hopefully we get some runs and we win this game today. I have high hopes.
Yes, let's take this series and keep that momentum because tomorrow it's the O's.
Tomorrow's the O's.
And thank you to our co-hosts in the chat. We appreciate you and you coming every week.
Love you guys.
Join the conversation. And as always, everyone has a reserved seat with Chris and me right here on the upper deck. Go Yankees!
Go Yankees!